Melanie Acosta. This is my presentation on the city of Fullerton for Geography 329, Cities and Nature. Starting off with the first slide is green space. Fullerton refers to their green spaces as open spaces. I got all of my information on my slides from the Fullerton website, where they carry their master plan, solutions, goals they want for the future. So going back to the open spaces, on the left side you can see the map, and Fullerton has 4 open spaces. You can see it's Hawks Point, Eastment, Robert E. Ward Nature Preserve, Coyote Hills West Preserve, and Coyote Hills East Preserve. So Fullerton wants to coordinate with other parks and nonprofit organizations to maintain and preserve their regional open spaces. They do want to encourage visitation to the open spaces, but they also do expect residents to respect the environment. They also do want to create accessibility for everyone, including people with disabilities. They want to make sure that they have access to these open spaces and green spaces. And they also want to focus on limiting fire and erosion hazards by creating watersheds in these open spaces. So going on to my next slide, which is city parks. On the left, you can see I put a map that I also got from the City of Fullerton website of all the parks in Fullerton. I didn't even know we had this many parks. There's 50. I've only probably visited about 3 or 4. So again, Fullerton does want to preserve its parks, but also want to improve the ones that already exist. They want to have a 4-acre per 1,000 people park to population ratio, and they also want to encourage and emphasize recreational activity to encourage the health and wellness of the Fullerton residents. They also want to facilitate the development of parks and the access to parks. So they want to have about a 15-minute walk from parks. And what I thought was pretty cool was that they also want to involve the Fullerton community, asking their opinions on it, surveying them, interviewing them, to people who use these parks a lot. Not only them, maybe even visitors. What can they improve on these parks? What do they lack? What will attract more people? What will get people out and going? So that is something that I thought was really cool with involving the community. Going on to the next slide is the zoning. So on the right side, I put the zoning map of Fullerton. The left side, I put the key. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit the whole key in, but I tried to look at the map and kind of identify what colors, because they are color-coded, are more popular in the city of Fullerton, and I tried to just zoom in to that key section, which was the residential zones. As you can see, there's a lot of yellow, and the yellow represents the single-family homes. So there are a lot of single-family homes in Fullerton. It's called R11 family residential. You can see some orange, mostly yellow though, a dab of pink, but that refers to the Central Business District, which is commercial. So that is the zoning map of Fullerton. So going on to my next slide, which is housing and building codes. This was something I found very interesting, and I actually learned a lot, and I really enjoyed looking up and searching and reading about. So I did not know anything about housing here in Fullerton. So housing is determined by household income. So they have 4 to 5 categories of incomes in Fullerton. So there's very low, moderate, and above moderate. In the future, the city would like to relieve the concentration of very low and low income households in one area, and that is just to better distribute resources equally. And these tables that I'm going to talk about next, I also got off the Fullerton website. These are RHNA tables, and these are dated from 2006 to 2014. And these are housing allocations based on income. So on the left side is the income category: extremely low, very low, low, moderate, above moderate. And right on the next column is the housing allocations needed. So it's 199, 398, 329, 376, 806, which totals to 1,910 housing allocations. And a side note is the extremely low category is 50% of the very low category. So moving on to the right table is the construction achievements for these housing allocations that were made in 2006 and 2014. So the very low, unfortunately, there were 0. Low, there were 2. Moderate, there was 1. And above moderate, there was 139, totaling to about 142 housing allocations created. So unfortunately, there was not a lot of progress, is what it seems like from the data. And I thought it was very interesting. From the data, it just seems that they did focus more on the above moderate households. So a little going on to the next slide, which is just the housing building codes continued. So Fullerton does need to plan regions or lands for housing based on the income categories, and they need to find the land that satisfies this income category. And very low and low income categories require higher density housing, and unfortunately, if they are able to locate land that is able to sustain higher density housing, it is not always used for that, and it is not always affordable for lower income families. So examples of Fullerton zoning codes: single family residential R1, 2 family residential R2. Those are just some zoning codes I found also on their website. Going on to noise and light pollution. So Fullerton has something called noise element, and this is listed in their master plan. And this is just to basically examine and identify noise within the city and to reduce it. Excessive noise affects the environment negatively, resulting in negative impact on your work or your house. They do want to try to control noise generated from mobile sources, whether it be a freeway or just traffic in the street that you can hear. Noise receptors, they want to implement noise insulation and several control techniques and monitor what noise activities are appropriate and not damaging to the surrounding communities. Air pollution reduction. They want to improve housing options and employment opportunities just so the commute is not that far, or they're able to reduce commute in general, which is able to reduce pollution into the air. They want to balance industrial, residential, recreational, and commercial to reduce trips. Obviously, better disposal of waste products, reduce pollution to air quality created from construction projects. I mentioned a little bit of this in my essay. One thing they do want to do, for example, is water down construction areas twice a day, just so that they don't have dust going around everywhere and just contributing to more to the air pollution contributed to by cars. Increase recycling programs, reduce waste strategies, reduce greenhouse gas emissions through waste handling, motor vehicles, water conveyance, as well as through solid waste. That is my last bullet point. And that is it. I learned a lot about Fullerton. I actually didn't know anything about it, didn't even think about any of this stuff and how it affects the environment. But it was actually a very eye-opening project and research presentation. I really did enjoy, and I did learn a lot. So I am a little bit more aware of what is happening around me, and certain areas, why they are the way they are, where they are the way they are. So it was really nice learning about Fullerton in the city I live in. Thank you.